Good evening, everybody. All right, we got the great pleasure of having Jeff Gibby with us tonight from MetaStock. He and I have been working together for quite a few years now. I've always been very impressed. When anybody asks me what we use for scanning, MetaStock is up on the top of the list because they've got more and good, I want to say, indicators that an investor can use than anybody I've ever seen. So what we're going to do tonight is kind of backtrack a little bit and kind of go back through that with a scanning technique, especially with the capabilities that you have in something like MetaStock. Since we know we've already scaled down the 50 or 60 candlestick signals to what we call the 12 major signals, this allows us to do scans for, again, the high probability signals and patterns. The patterns also included in that are the fry pan bottom, dumpling top, cradle, J-hook. These all have relevancy. And the relevancy is that the Japanese rice traders over hundreds of years have identified what happens in human nature. And this is why candlestick analysis is the most unique, or I guess the most accurate of any technical analysis, because it utilizes one factor that has been very consistent over and over and over, and that's human nature. So for the past few years, Jeff and I have been working on formulas, and they've put them into their the MetaStock scanning software, which Jeff will go into further. But the whole point of having a scanning software that not only identifies the good signals and patterns and tells you or identifies them for you, but the basis of investing is trying to put your money in situations where the probabilities are the most influential in your favor. So that means out of the trend or the 10,000 trading entities out in the investment universe, you can go through the scanning process using candlestick signals and patterns, and within 20 minutes each afternoon come up with 5, 10, 15 excellent chart setups. Now, that produces your supply and demand, or I say your supply well over your demand. If you've got 5, 10, 15 charts that look excellent, that provides you the opportunity to go back through and cultivate through those charts to pick out the best one or two that you probably want to utilize for your trading. And it doesn't matter what your trading universe is. If you're investing in $1 to $5 stocks, is that your range? You can create that universe. If you're investing only in or looking for scans for stocks that are optionable, you can set up your universe in that manner. If you're looking for stocks that trade more than 500,000 shares a day, you can set up that universe. So anyways, what we are able to do in our scanning is find those signals, such as the belt hold signal, telling us there's a big reversal in progress. This is what we're looking for. Or our best friend signal, the doji gap up. This we put on our list when we start looking at it because we know, or come back to, we know what the morning star signal looks like. So what we like to do as far as what I call convergence analysis is the more pieces of evidence that we can put into our visual analysis instantly, the higher the probability you're going to see a reversal. The first criteria, and then we even had kind of a little bit of discussion today in the chat room. People say, well, isn't the stochastics, is it too far away from, or the stochastics too high, or are we too far away from the T-line? The answer is the first criteria that we look for on any of our trades is the signal itself, a morning star signal. Now, what's our confirming indicators? Very simply, we're in the oversold area. Japanese rice traders have a very simple philosophy. If you see a candlestick buy signal in the oversold area, you've got a high probability you've got a reversal. If you've got a candlestick buy signal and a close above the T-line, the probabilities are that you're going to be in a strong uptrend. Richard, yes, you can program in the TC2000, but MetaStock has them already programmed in, and I'll again let Jeff explain the benefits of that for you. This is one of the best setups that you can look for, the bullish harami. And what's our why do we look for a bullish harami? Because it tells you the selling has stopped. And if we can just visually instantly see that the selling has stopped right smack dab on the 50-day moving average, when it opens positive, that produces an extremely high probability that that is where they started buying. Now, this is the logic, or this is the analysis that you want to utilize as far as common sense, or I guess applied common sense to candlestick analysis, is where do you think everybody's watching to see if there's support? Well, we can see visually that's where the buying started based upon a candlestick reversal signal. I have a lot of people always ask me, how many days does it take for your reversal signals to confirm? And the answer is 0. If we see a reversal signal, what's that telling us? There's a possibility of a reversal, obviously. If it opens positive the next day, what's it telling us about our reversal signal? It's confirming. It's time to be buying immediately. So, again, always use the term observe the obvious, which candlestick analysis does for us. Obviously, they were buying right here on the 50-day moving average. It doesn't have to be right there, but the next thing is bullish and harami gap up. If this tells you the selling has stopped, or the next day they're gapping it up, what's that telling you? Not only have they stopped the selling, but this produces an extremely powerful uptrend. Not only, I shouldn't say powerful, produces an extremely high probability reversal, and with the elements of more strength in it than a normal uptrend. Same scenario on the sell side. See a big bearish engulfing signal and a close below the T-line. We know what investor sentiments or happened to investor sentiment. It's turned the other way. Now, this is kind of redundant for quite a few of you, but if you recognize the signals and patterns, here's our bearish flutter kicker signal. Very simple illustration. You're in an uptrend. It opens here, closes here. The next day they open it here and close it right in here doing a doji. And what's our simple rule of the doji? They're going to trade it in the direction of how they open it after the doji. So they're trading it in this direction. Comes a bearish flutter kicker, because if we took out this little flutter, you essentially have a kicker signal. Okay. All right. Bearish flutter kicker signal. That's not BYD today, but that's telling you there's going to be more force to the downside. So if we understand what each signal and pattern tell us, we've got a huge advantage by not being, I want to say, hesitant. That if we see a best friend signal, a lot of people say, well, I don't want to buy a stock that's already up 6, 8, 10, 12% today. You do if you know what type of signal it's creating and where it's being created. Same scenario on the downside. Doji shooting star, stochastics in the overbought condition, and they gap it down. What's our overall trend been in a downward direction? And we're right here at the 50. If they're gapping it down, who's still winning this trend battle? The bears. If this opens lower the next day, it's a high probability that you're going to go. You want to go short. Email stage you can download. Marianne, I'll let Jeff explain all that. So not only can we identify the signals, but we can also scan for the different patterns. And why is there a benefit for scanning for different patterns? Because once again, it puts you in situations to give you a much higher probability without hesitation of getting into a position. This is what we call the classic pattern. Classic pattern is a fry pan bottom breakout. What do we expect coming out of a fry pan bottom breakout? Very strong price move. And we see some profit taking, consolidation, back to the T-line. What do we expect from human nature after a very strong price move? Profit taking. Now, do we know if this profit taking is ending the uptrend and taking it back in this direction? We don't. We take our profits, but then we can see what the indecision is showing us in each candlestick signal. Doji, inverted hammer, and they start bringing it back up. We can start buying again, knowing that we're not holding on to something that's heading in this direction, but we're heading higher. So we might be closing out a position and buying back, knowing that when we got out of the position, we didn't know whether it was going this way, but when we're buying back, we know the probabilities are pretty strong it's going this way. So essentially, we're setting up parameters for ourselves to know when, what the heck? All right, little technical glitch. Okay, so this isn't today's recommendations, but we can see what's happening here, that the uptrend occurred, the profit taking. We know exactly where to start buying. If they break out through here, we know we're in wave 3 of a J-hook pattern. So the whole point of identifying where a pattern breakout is about ready to occur puts you in situations where the probabilities are greatly in your favor. Kicker signal. Would be looking for more upside. Kicker signal. Looking for more upside. Inverted hammer. Now, when we teach people how to use the candlestick signals, again, we've narrowed it down from the 50 or 60 signals that are in the Japanese candlestick universe down to 12. So we often get asked the question, which ones are the strongest of those? Well, they're already all pretty strong. We've already kind of cultivated them down to the strong signals. But each one has a different characteristic. For example, the inverted hammer doesn't occur as often as the others, but the probabilities are the strongest that if you see an inverted hammer in the oversold area and they open up positive the next day, this is, again, nothing official, just my own analysis over the years, that you probably have a 95% probability or greater your uptrend is going to be in progress. Nick, the MetaStock already has all those patterns or those signals built in for you. And they're in the book. If nothing else, read high profit candlestick patterns. Inverted hammer, bullish, open. So what do we expect here? We already know that a doji has a very simple rule to it. It's going to move in the direction of how they open it after a doji. So if it opens positive, we don't have to be hesitant. We can be starting to buy immediately, because what's all our calculation here? An inverted hammer opening positive, that in itself is a high probability trade setup. Opening positive after doji tells us the probabilities are pretty strong. It's going to move higher. You add all that together, you've got an extremely high probability entry I want to say strategy. So today, we can see what's happening here in AAOI. This is kind of common price movement. If they come up through a resistance level, what does human nature tend to do? They bring it back to test to see whether that resistance level is going to act as support. In this case, we can see very clearly with the Morningstar signal right smack dab off the 50 that this is acting as support. With a Morningstar signal, we probably have more upside in this J-hook classic. Again, the classic being the fry pan bottom, strong price move, pullback, next wave to the upside. So the reason we're pointing these out is if we can identify the different patterns, like the fry pan bottom in ADMS today, and a close above the 50, most investors don't know what a fry pan bottom is because they don't study candlesticks. But most investors are watching to see what happens at a resistance level like the 50. We've got the added benefit of visually recognizing here's a fry pan bottom about ready to break out, and it did come up through a resistance level. We can be buying with that much more surety that this upside has the potential of probably now coming up to fill this gap. When you say buy immediately, do you wait for confirmation candle till the close? No, this means if this opened positive tomorrow, maybe within 30, 60, 90 seconds, if it's still moving positive, I'm starting to buy. It tells me the bulls are still there. Yeah, you could also, no, it's not quite a a bobble breakout. A bobble breakout usually has an attempt at the resistance level of failure and then comes back. Paul, if I'm sitting here watching this trade, which I am most of the time, I'm buying immediately. Not with a limit order, but with a stop order. And remember that there's a difference between a stop order and a limit order. A stop order says if this trades at 7, I want to be buying. Well, if it opens up at 7:04 and starts moving up, you couldn't buy it because you put your limit to buy at 7. If you put a stop order in saying if this trades greater than 7 or greater, yeah, that just gets you in, even though it's above the above that $7 price. So here's the J-hook pattern. This is what the pattern identification software does for you. Is find the trades that are setting up. This is your bobble breakout. Notice how the trend came up, failed at the 200, and broke through today. We've been holding this one, but we even put a new recommendation on this today on positive trading because what do we expect coming out of a bobble breakout? More upside. Is the fry pan bottoms less likely to work with the overall market? Yes, obviously. So the number one criteria or the number one analysis that we do every morning is which way do we think the market is going? If the market's heading down and you see a fry pan bottom about ready to break out, you've got to be a little bit more skeptical, scrutinizing to make sure that that pattern is going to work. Obviously, when you're in an uptrend, there's going to be a lot better prospects for bullish patterns to work. But on the other side of the coin, if you're analyzing that you're in a downtrend, you're probably not looking for bullish fry pan bottoms as you are more for dumpling tops or bearish J-hook patterns. So the way to have a supply of good trades, and when I say good trades, what is BO mean in bobble? That's a bobble breakout. So notice here is kind of the failure up here. It bobbles. And notice what the support level is for our bobble, the T-line. When it broke through this level, what did that tell us about the T-line crunching this up into the resistance level that they're going through? Now I forgot what I was saying before that. So if market is uptrending and have bullish candle pattern, what is the probability of it occurring? Wally, it's got to be better than 70%. And because of all the different scenarios that you can place, remember, the reason that we're looking at candlestick patterns and signals is not that we've picked out some patterns and signals that look good. It's because they have produced effective results over the last 400 years. So all we're doing is identifying what human nature does time after time to create the high probability trade situation. So as we're training people, either in the chat room or in one of our training sessions, the one thing I always tell people that you have to be just as effective for identifying when a pattern or a signal is not working as you do when it is working. So if you can assume that 70% of your trades are going to be profitable, it could be 0.3% or it could be 300%. But you also have to become aware, which took me a long time to figure out, that 1/3 of your trades are not going to work. And so the whole point of investing is, if you get into a trade that's working, that's where they say let the profits run. If it's not working, cut your losses short and move on to the next one. And candlestick analysis provides that clarity to show you or tell you whether your trade's working or your trade's not working. So I will put on, I know at least 1/3 of my trades that I put on won't work. I close it right out and I move on, because with simple scanning techniques each day, for each position that I close out during the day, I know that I will probably find 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 good chart setups the next day, just with some very simple scanning techniques. And that's what Jeff is going to be showing you, is how MetaStock, so 1/3 of your trades are probably not going to work. Now, that could also mean there's days in an uptrend I might have all 10 of my positions working. There might be other days where in an uptrend 7 are working, 2 are flat, and 1's not working. But that provides me the opportunity to analyze the ones that are working, so I don't have to put a lot of effort into it, and put more of my effort into analyzing the one that's not working to see whether it's time to close out that position. So again, we've got Jeff here. I highly recommend MetaStock's scanning software. It's probably the best. I don't have to say it's the best. It is rated one, if not it is rated the best scanning software out there. So with that, Jeff, let me close out my.
Hello, Steve.
Oops, did we already do it? Okay, I'm already closed out. All right, everybody, Jeff Gibby, take her away. Right. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Let me tell you a little bit about me, and I just want to show you some of the tools we've designed and worked on and I've been working on with Steve. Just to give you a little bit of background of kind of where I came from, I actually worked with MetaStock for my entire adult life almost. Back in March, I celebrated our 21st stream of Sabbath. All right, how is that? Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I started here about 21 years ago. Oh, wow, this camera's on. Let's see. Okay. Hello. Okay. So I started about 21 years ago. And for the first 10 years, I worked in inside sales, and I talked to people about MetaStock. If you're not familiar with MetaStock, as Steve said, it's been rated the #1 software in its price category for 23 years in a row right now. It's a fantastic product. For the last, I'd say 13 years or so, I've worked in business development, which is a fantastic job. I think I have one of the best jobs here at the company. And one of the things that I get to do that I enjoy is reaching out to people like Steve and talking to them about what they do. Steve is a product, the Candle Profit System is a product. And if you have people, if any of you use Candle Profit Systems for MetaStock, let me know in the chat. But it's a product that's been highly rated by Stocks and Commodities. it's actually been rated one of the best products, not for just MetaStock, but for any software product out there. It had a really good review. It's one of those products that I actually really like to show when I go do like the in-person events, let's say. And people really enjoy it. I get really good feedback from our customers that actually use it. It's a product that's been insanely successful for us. So I want to show you exactly what we did with it, how it works, how you can use it for your scanning. And if I would have known I would have been live on camera, probably would have shaved today. But let's go ahead and kind of get into it a little bit. Here are the patterns that we identify with Candle Profit System. All in all, there's a total of about 19 different patterns that are built into the software program that you can use. And typically what we're talking about are like his multiple day patterns. So you've got your fry pan, your doji top, your doji best friends, your J hooks. The doji best friend is actually a pattern scan that I run on a daily basis to look for trades. Okay. And I kind of want to jump into the software and show you exactly how that works. And I'll do a little bit of looking here at the screen that I've got set up and back at the camera so you guys can see me. But let's go ahead and jump into a chart. This is a weekly chart that we've got of the Dow Industrial Averages. And I just want to kind of show you how these patterns are identified on a chart. So a few things about this pattern. As soon as the pattern forms, it's going to be drawn on there, and it's not going to go away. Okay. The only situation is if you have a pattern that forms, like let's say in the middle of a day or in the middle of a bar, it may go away if the criteria are not met when that bar closes. But as long as the bar is closed and that pattern is on the chart, it's going to be there the next day and the next day. It's not something that's drawn on there after the fact. It's digital. In other words, this bull kicker that we would have gotten in the Dow back in September of 2017 would have been there. All of these 21 patterns that I've showed you on that chart are going to automatically be labeled and identified on the chart. So most recently on this weekly Dow chart, what we had is we had this kind of dumpling top pattern form, and we're kind of in a bit of a shakeout. We really haven't had a pattern that formed since then. Okay. One of the things that I love about this is I actually spent some time going through the courses of Steve Bigalow, because what we wanted to do is I wanted to make something that was very usable regardless of whether you had gone through the courses or not. Because keep in mind, this is a product that we market not only to Bigalow customers but to MetaStock customers as well. And so one of the things that we have in there is we have a function that's called a commentary function. And it allows you to go in and, it allows us to go in and tell you things about these specific patterns. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and click on the View button right here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Expert Commentary. And when I do that, you'll notice right here where I'm pointing on at the chart, there's going to be a little bit of a triangle. Okay? And that basically just tells us that this commentary is looking at today. Okay? And of course I can move that around. So for example, if I come back to this fry pan bottom, if I wanted to kind of see some advice on that particular pattern, it's going to go ahead and display it for me. So in this particular case, I'm going to kind of make this a little bit bigger for you so you can read it along with me. But in this case, we had a fry pan bottom that formed right here. This visual bullish pattern captures the psychology behind the price movement, tells you a little bit about the pattern and the sentiment behind the pattern. It's obviously a long signal. It gives you some advice on how to go long, and it tells you how to get out of the trade. So in this case, you'd want to exit on any trading that closes below the trajectory breakout of the rounding bottom formation and wait for more strength to come back into the full pattern formation. Okay? Because this was a little bit more of a visual pattern, the visual patterns are a little bit trickier to code. And so what we wanted to do in this particular case is we wanted to tell you what we were looking at so you could visually confirm that on that chart. We might take this out because we actually did a pretty good job with this thing. But in this case, what we're looking for is kind of a slow rounding bottom consisting of indecisive trading. As the end of the pattern approaches the same levels as when the pattern started, watch for a breakout of the signal. And you can watch for breakout indicators like a gap up or a big bullish candle or a signal combination. So any of these patterns that I can click on, you can click on any of them that you want. You can click on any day that you want. It's going to give you that information on kind of what the pattern is, how you should look to trade it, how you should look to get out of the stock. And in addition to that, in some cases what we'll do, and I'm just trying to find a pattern that has one, but in some cases we'll provide what we call enhancements to the trade. So for example, with this left-right bullish combo, the idea here is if you're looking at 5 or 10 different left-right bullish combos, what we want to be able to do is, it sounds muffled, huh? Hello? Let me just check the audio settings real quick right here. We're going to try, okay. And I'm showing that the audio level is actually coming through good on the blue snowball. So hopefully it sounds okay. Okay, and I'm hearing it's fine. Hopefully it still sounds fine after I change it to this microphone here. In any case, kind of lost the train of thought. So that's usually how it displays. We automatically put the T line and the 3T line and the moving averages on the chart for you. And we kind of set it up in such a way that Steve likes to watch it. Okay. Now, the whole talk is about scanning for patterns. And so I want to show you how that works in the program as well. Obviously, if we're just looking at the Dow and want to take an option position on the diamonds or something, there hasn't been a lot of patterns that have been recognized recently. I anticipate we might get one here in a few days or so. But the idea behind the software and the idea behind software in general is it should allow you to find stuff. And so let me show you how this works. Let me go ahead and open up what we call Power Console and MetaStock. And there's a few things. We're going to talk a little bit about scanning today. But there's quite a few scans that are pre-built in here for you. So, and if I hover over them, it'll tell me exactly what that scan is looking for. So for example, this one is the one I run on a daily basis. I've already run it today. It's the Doji Best Friend pattern. Okay? It'll also find the Doji at the top, the left-right bullish combo, the left-right bearish combo, the series of bullish or bearish. There's the J-hook pattern, the power signals, and each one of these have different types of patterns that you can look for that'll scan through a universe for you. Okay? If every time you turn the sound is not good. Okay. I have that's why I use the one on my head mostly. It's not using this mic. We should be using this mic. Okay. All right. I'll talk into this microphone. You may like to slow down. Ram, good to see you today. Thanks for coming. All right. Okay. Okay. So to run the scans, what you'll want to do is you just basically select the ones that you want to run. And one of the things that we have is we have the ability to scan just about anything that you want. We power our data with Thomson Reuters data. So basically, if you're not familiar with Thomson Reuters, it's a huge company. It's like basically a $19 billion a year company. And we use their data to power our software. And what that means is if we take a look right here in this public online data list, you can scan any of up to 381,847 instruments. It's a rather big number. But that means if you're in Asia and you want to be able to follow your Asian stocks, maybe you want to scan the Hang Seng stocks. Or if you're in Europe and you want to do the London stocks, or maybe you're in India and you want to do the National Stock Exchange. We can support any of the instruments that you're actually interested in. Okay? The market coverage for this is insane. They cover, like I said, 381,000 instruments. You can look at Forex. You can look at ETFs. In the U.S., I like the way that they've kind of narrowed it down. So if I click on the North America right here, you'll be able to see NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange. You can scan like all of the different markets if you want. Maybe you're an options trader and you want to be able to go in and scan through the optionable stocks. You can go ahead. We have a listing that's available of all the optionable stocks. Or maybe you want to do ETFs. You can do that as well. Okay. What I actually did is you'll notice there's two scans up here that I haven't talked about yet. There's one that's called the Universe Scan and the Universe Oversold Scan. And what this is designed to do is it's designed to go through your universe and find specifically the instruments that are over $5 and have at least a minimum daily volume of 200,000 shares traded daily. Okay? Now, for me, what I'll do is I personally trade options, and I trade ETFs on options, or ETFs. So what I'll do is on a like a quarterly basis, not too frequently, is I'll go and I'll run this universe scan, and what I'll do is I'll save that as a list, and then I then search on a daily basis. It just speeds up the processing in terms of on an everyday basis. Okay, so I have that actual list saved up here under my custom list. You can set up custom lists if you want, and I just call it my pre-filtered list of securities. So this is actually the scan that I run on a daily basis. Okay. Jim says, do these candlestick patterns work well on cryptocurrency? Steve might be able to talk to that. I actually don't trade a lot of cryptocurrencies. I can tell you that they work well on normal currencies. I've looked at a lot of stocks. Okay. So let's say we wanted to run a bit of a scan today. You can run as many of these scans as you want, but generally what you're going to do is just click on the one that you want to scan, click on the list that you want to scan, and within a few minutes you're going to get a report back. Okay? I'm going to show you what that report looks like, so let's go ahead and click on the Doji Dynamite. That's a scan I ran a little bit earlier. As I said, my favorite pattern, I'm all nervous about the audio now, I'm just like talking straight into this thing. But like I said earlier, Doji Best Friend is the pattern that I like to kind of scan for on a daily basis. Unfortunately, we didn't have any today. So this is the way the report looks when you get it back. You've basically got a list of the securities that exhibited any of the patterns. So in this, here's the reject list. Instead of looking at all of these stocks, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be looking at these dozen or so that actually have a pattern. So what we're allowing ourselves to do is we're allowing ourselves to focus on the securities that have an opportunity and ignore the ones that don't have an opportunity. We're saving ourselves a ton of time here. Okay? Up here you'll notice the names of the patterns that we're looking for. So we've got the doji at the top. I can rank it based on this column, but anything that has a 1 in the doji at the top column is going to be true for that. If we open up the chart and we take a look at it, the last bar will have a doji at the top. Okay? The Doji Best Friend, again, there's no patterns, unfortunately, today. We didn't have any left or right bullish patterns, but we did have some left and right bullish. There's about 4 of those that exist on the chart. And then there was no series of bearish or series of bullish in that universe that we scanned. So, Mercy asked a question, is it only for the U.S. residency? No. I'd say roughly right now about half of our business is in the U.S. and about half of it is overseas in different countries. And we have a lot of Canadians. In fact, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks from now I'm going to be doing a presentation in Quebec and Toronto. So you're absolutely able to use it. Shell says, I use it and live in Australia. Thank you for using MetaStock, Shell. Okay, so now if we want to, we can go ahead and look at a couple of charts here. Let's go ahead and look at maybe these left-right bearish patterns that formed today. So these, I've already ran the scan. These are the stocks that are going to have that left-right bearish pattern. If there's quite a few of them, that, and I want to just save the list, I can save this to a list and just go through them one at a time. Since there's only about 4, what I'm going to do is I'll just highlight them all, and we'll just take a look at them with charts. So I'll go ahead and click on Open Charts. It's going to open them all for me. And we can kind of just take a look at them. Now, we started with about 2,300 stocks, and now we're going to look at 4 and kind of decide the best one that you want. And you'll notice by default, you're going to have kind of the patterns identified. Here's your left-right bearish combo. It tells you what that is. You can see how the patterns have kind of reacted in the past. This dumpling top looks like it was good. This bear kicker was good. This T-line crunch was good. And we had some 5-pan bottoms that just didn't trigger in and wouldn't have gotten us into a trade. But that way we can kind of take a look, kind of decide on our favorites. And the idea here is instead of looking at 2,500 stocks or all the futures, it basically just allows us to kind of zero in on the ones that have an opportunity. So there you go. Okay. Oh, Peter says, I also have it and I live in Canada. Well, thank you for using MetaStock, Peter. I appreciate that. All right. So that's it in a nutshell. It's very, very simple. What I do, what you'll get with it, this is again the list of patterns that are available. You can run your scans. These are how they break down. These are the price pattern scans, the Doji Dynamite scans, the power signals, and the J-hook scans. Very, very simple to run. Those pre-filter explorations we actually put together after we created the product. And so they're a bonus that we give away. If you buy the CPS today, I'll actually send you a download link for the bonus pre-filter exploration. Okay? And we kind of talked about how the commentary works. This just kind of goes into the detail on them. So in total, the CPS product, what it's going to do is it's going to include 4 explorations. The expert advisor, which kind of paints all of the signals on the chart for you. It gives you that definitions of how all of the patterns work. And then the layout, which basically puts the charts together, and the 20 different patterns. Okay. If you're new to MetaStock, what we're going to do, I did want to bring up again that we've been rated #1 by Stocks and Commodities readers, and that's 24 years in a row. But what you can do, what was done is we basically include with this package a trial to MetaStock, so you can try it out for free for 30 days. So the complete package, what it is normally Candle Profit Systems is going to cost you $399. Here at the show, you'll pay, or here at the event today, you'll pay $299 for it. If you need access to MetaStock, we'll give you a free trial. You can do either our DC, which is our daily charts package, or our real-time package. And I'll show you how that works in just a second. As soon as you order, you're going to get access to a 40-minute training session. In that training session, I go in and I show you how to run your scans, how to set up your pre-filter list, how to do pretty much how to open up the charts, look at the expert advisor, pretty much everything you need to do to kind of get off and running with this thing. In addition to that, you'll get a complete manual. We'll throw in those pre-filter explorations for you. And not only do you get a free trial to MetaStock, you also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what that means is you can actually use the product, see if you like it. If it adds value to your trading, it's going to be worth keeping, right? So it's a pretty good way for us to give you a good risk-reward ratio. Hey, give it a try. You're going to like it. I get tons of good feedback. That might be a byproduct of it. It's one of my favorite add-on products that we have for MetaStock, and I show it everywhere I go. But it's been a hugely successful product, and I always get really, really good feedback for it. So give it a try. Again, normally it's going to cost you $399 to get. It's $299 here at the show. And what you'll do to take advantage of that is just go to metastock.com/candlestickforum. Hey, I'm going to type that. Oh, Becky got it for me. LKP Phillips says, well, Paulette asked a question. We'll go through some of these questions. They're very easy to answer. So how am I moving from one diamond to another? You just click it. Click where you want to go. Now, if you click it and it doesn't appear to be moving, there's a little bit of a toggle switch right here. This basically will pin this to the last bar. If you want to move it around, you have to actually make sure it's not always pinned to the last bar. And then you can just click anywhere that you want it to go. Okay? Okay, P. Phillips, thank you for your question. Is it $299 for 1 year or forever? It's actually $299 as a one-time cost. So once you buy it, you own it. You do need MetaStock to run it. We're giving you a 30-day trial of MetaStock as part of it, but you own the Candlestick Profit Systems forever after that. To get the discount, do I have to buy MetaStock, buy it through MetaStock US, or can I buy it through the Australian site? Shell, if you want to buy it through the Australian site, they should be able to get it to you. You will need to update your MetaStock from version 9.1. I think 9.1 was one of the versions that I sold on the phones, so it was like 14 or 15 years old. The 15 version, though, we've included a lot of people haven't upgraded to 15 from Australia because then you might be using your own data provider. With your upgrade, you'll be able to use your own data provider again. Okay. Bob asked a question: is it the online version, or do you download it on a computer? You download it on your computer. Okay. It also does another popular question that comes after I answer it that way is, can I use it on an Apple? The answer to that question is yes, but you have to use it in Windows. So it needs, if you want to run on an Apple, you need to use Boot Camp and Windows. Nick asks a really good question, how much is MetaStock? Well, let's talk a little bit about that. There's two different versions of MetaStock. I'm just going to take you to this Candlestick forum page. I've got it up here and ready to share it with you. In it, there's a little bit of a video. In that video, I think I recorded that, but I will actually just kind of talk a little bit about the program. If you come down here to the bottom of the page, if you have MetaStock already, you can just check mark right here, and you put in your order for the Steve Bigalow candle process. If you need a copy of MetaStock, you can order a 3-month. You just click either here for the DC version of MetaStock. DC stands for daily charts, so it updates once a day after the market closes. And that one would be $59 per month with the data. So when you actually go into the order process, it's going to ask you what data you want. The options are North and South America, Europe, Middle East and Africa, and Asia Pacific. So you just select the region of data that you want, and for $59 a month, you get both MetaStock as well as you'll already own the candle process system. Okay. The real-time option comes with not only MetaStock, it also comes with a product that we call MetaStock Zenith. We don't have a lot of time to talk about Zenith today, but let me just tell you, Zenith is a white-labeled version of Thomson Reuters Icon. It's a fantastic product. To give you some numbers on it, they spent over $1 billion developing it. It is one of the, they developed it as a competitor to Bloomberg. I was talking to one of my business partners today on the phone, and he's like, people should know more about this product. Because if you want this type of quality of news, usually what your options are is to go get a Thomson Reuters Icon or a Bloomberg. And I think the Bloomberg retail price is like $1,400 a month. So you get actually a really, really cool news product with it. In fact, I would recommend if you're signing up for Bigalow to start with the real-time trial. Because if you start with the real-time trial, you can always downgrade that to end of day, but you can also play with this application that they've developed at the cost of over $1 billion. I'm just going to give you some numbers on Icon real quick. They have 4 million research items that are available on a daily basis. They have 266 reporters, 26,000 reporters in about 266 news bureaus around the world. Literally, it's one of the biggest organizations on earth. Where they make all of their money, though, is selling real-time news and data about companies to institutions. Try out Zenith. You'll probably like it. And you can always, if you, at the end of your subscription, go down to the daily version if you want. MetaStock is not a brokerage. We specialize in tools that help you find good trades. And that's really kind of been our focus. Frank asked after the 30-day trial, how much does MetaStock cost? It's $59 per month. Abdi says, will it work on Apple? It will. With the current Apple infrastructure, ever since they moved to the Intel chips, it's very compatible with PC software, but it does require PCs like Windows to run, so you have to use Boot Camp or Bigalow to work on it. The data is included with these rates, so data is actually included with that. Ram asks, is there any plans to provide MetaStock in Mac? We're currently working on some major revisions to the software that we want to get done first. However, people are asking for Mac all the time now, so I think it's a matter of time, to be frank. Okay? Is Steve around? I do not know. I think Steve would have to answer that. Tony asks a really good question. How much does it add to add an additional data subscription like US plus Asia? Well, thank you for your interest. It's actually, you pay 50% less. So if it's the end of day option that you're getting, you'll pay $59. For 2 regions, you'll pay $78. And when you actually go in here to order it, we'll just go ahead and go to the next page real quick. It'll have you select a data region, and you can actually select to. Right here, it doesn't actually apply the discount right here, but it says the discounts will automatically apply to the 2nd and 3rd region when you add it to your shopping cart. Okay? Bob asks, is there an annual fee as well in lieu of a monthly fee? Yes. The annual fee is about a 10% discount, I believe. On the trial, they won't. If you sign up for the annual fee, they actually won't bill you for that until after the subscription, after your free month. Okay. We've gone completely Shell, to answer your question. I think I missed an answer. Is the add-on a CD or a download? Everything's digital. If you order it today, you can download it today. You can go ahead and start going through the training today. Everything's completely automated and completely digital. Ram asked a question that I really didn't want to answer today, but I'll go ahead and spill the beans on it. CPS has been so popular that we are putting the finishing touches on an upgrade. Right now, our upgrade to CPS. Right now, our plan is to launch it in 2 weeks' time on May 1st. Here's the thing. If you order the CPS today, you'll get that upgrade for free. I'll also tell you this, the price is actually going up on the add-on on May 1st. We sell that it's severely underpriced. And so the price is actually going to go up, not a lot, a little bit for this CPS add-on. If you buy it today, you'll get an upgrade for free to the new version when it ships in about a month. Okay. Paulette says, I like the CPS single day pattern. Drop me an email and I'll send that to you. Diana, to answer your question on the fee part, $2.99 is a one-time cost. It gives you access to, thank you for the question too, it gives you access to CPS, and then you can either pay $59 a month for the MetaStock DC, or you can pay that as an annual fee instead of a monthly fee, and in which case you'll get about a 10% discount. I think it's like $5.99 for the year. Okay. You're welcome, Ram. Thanks for making me spill the beans on it. All right. Will says, will it work with the Sink or Swim data feed? I'm not sure. But with this package, the data is included. MetaStock will read the following formats: CSV, MetaStock Local, and MetaStock Legacy. So if they can provide that data in a CSV format, it'll work. Thank you, Paula. I use it every day too. So in any case, that's what I had to share with you guys today. If you haven't tried, Paula, thank you for the endorsement right there at the end. We don't. All of our software is not internet dependent, so it doesn't matter what internet browser you're using. We usually recommend Chrome, but you can use anything you want. Our software is not internet-based. You download it to your PC. The stuff that we're pulling off in the software, particularly in the forecasting area, will be a little trickier to pull off in a browser environment. Shell, if you email me, I'll make sure you get it. So here, let me give you a way to do that. At metastock.com. There you go. So again, the website there is metastock.com/candlestickforum. Diana, you can use it on an Apple computer. There's some requirements there. You have to use Bootcamp for Parallels, and you have to get a license for Windows. In those scenarios, it'll work. It is a Windows-based PC it's a Windows-based product. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I want to say thank you for coming tonight. If there's anything that you need or if you have any questions that I missed, jeffrey.gibby@metastock.com. Thank you for those of you that use MetaStock, and I hope you guys try it out. You'll love it. So with that being said, I'm going to go home, play with the kids before they go to bed, and I'll see you at the next event.
Thank you, Jeff. Everybody, yeah, we have a lot of people do presentations on here. MetaStock has huge advantages. It's something that if you really want to get into making sure that you're scanning and even your trading, if I'm not mistaken, and I guess Jeff has already left, if you're trading Canadian stocks, if you're trading Asian stocks, if you're trading futures and don't want to have to go from service to service, It's MetaStock. It's all on. Yeah, if you get MetaStock, you won't need TC2000. That's right. And it's got a ton more information on it. So with that, everybody, have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the chat rooms. We'll see you then.